next section about human resources slash personnel is about selection. Selection is a different process from recruiting. Recruiting is gathering the potential candidates to look at, and the selection is the process used to actually choose them as you come through. There's all kinds of different recommendations out there. Some of them range from super brilliant to super stupid by the time it's all done. Don't even think about asking the candidate, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be? Only people with zero mentality in the world of business ask those kind of questions. You need to ask serious questions about the candidate that really dives down into them. Here's a simple rule: always, always, always. Make certain when you walk in, don't be like a normal human. A normal human, when you walk in, you actually make a decision if you're going to hire that person in the first 2.5 to 6.5 seconds if you're going to hire them. And then some of the more refined people, they decide in the first 2 minutes. No, that is not fair to that person that's applying for the job. Keep your mind open for a half hour before you make a decision. We'll talk about a little bit about the actual process for doing that, but always keep your mind open, because you don't want to hire somebody just like you. You want to hire somebody different who thinks different to help complement your skills. So be careful on the hiring process, where you're going to go in it. You want to hire people that'll sit down there and add value to your company, because of the fact their perspective might be different as you go through the process. So let's talk about a couple things. Screen the applicant. You want to hire the very best one. Check their background. You're going to do probably an interview of some type, either online or face-to-face, preferably face-to-face. You may have an employment test, an ability test. You have different things. If they're going to work in a spreadsheet, you may want to sit down and have an Excel spreadsheet for them to go through. Sometimes there's skills tests, but if you're starting a small business, these are probably past the scope of what you're looking for. Especially, do not use personality tests, because literally there's a case law called Duke versus Griggs Power that really addresses that whole issue. It's probably past the scope of this class, but later on you'll come across that. So, but make certain that if you're going to test anybody, that you use a thing called content validity. By content validity, it sounds a big term, but it's not. You take part of the job or part of the job content and test them in it. If you're going to have a job where somebody's going to be picking stuff up, putting it on a table, and shipping it out the back door, you might want to practice actually part of the job interview, have them pick up a package, put it on the table, and make certain they can ship it out the back door. Bending over and picking out a 20-pound box and picking up that box, putting it on a table might be part of your performance test, an actual interview process to see if they can do it. That's called content validity. You're taking the content of the job and testing on it. You want them to do accounting for you. Okay, an Excel spreadsheet, give them part of the job on the Excel spreadsheet, have them fill in the blanks based upon a couple of stacks of bills. That's content validity. Those are by far the very, very best ways of testing anybody. Take part of the job content that you already know they'll be doing and use that in the job. And it's the best legal defense, by the way, in case you ever have to face a lawsuit. Two kinds of interviews: unstructured and then structured. Unstructured, there's no set of questions. People lay back and they kind of shoot the breeze, as they call it. Those are the worst kind of things. They're unprofessional and they're sloppy. You need to have a structured interview, and not just for a small business, but for a large business. Ask each applicant the same questions and compare their responses, standardized set of answers. And a couple of things too is you want to spend time making certain that you're going to hire a good candidate. Take your time. Your job interview should be a minimum of half an hour. I've seen people try to do 20-minute interviews, but your business is on the line because this is your business. Take the time out and talk to them. Ask them at least 6 to 8 questions. Your first question should be what I call a resume recitation question of saying, what skills do you have that'll make you the best candidate for this job? And let them tick off the different things right down the list. And that way you can sit down and have it. And then the last question, typically in almost all interviews, really deals with, do you have any questions for us? If they really research a company, they'll have questions for you. The other part, in somewhere in your interview process, you want to give them a couple problem solving skills. Here's a scenario, and give them a tough scenario, and your goal is to try to get them to say, I've done something like this, and this is how I solve it. You want to see how they think to solve a problem. You also may want to sit down and ask them about how they would handle if somebody called up and said something really mean and nasty. How would they respond to that? If they're nasty back, you don't want to hire that person. You want somebody that's going to bring extraordinary customer service. So think about the aspect, do not do unstructured, a structured interview, and make certain you're finding the best skilled and the best fit for your own organization, because your name is going to be on the door somehow if this is your company. Take care.